Today I'd like to talk to you about the history of encapsulation carpet cleaning, where it all began, and also how Releasit played a part in all of this as well. Stick around, I think you'll find it interesting. Before we start talking about modern day encapsulation, we need to step back before today, go way back to where people used to shampoo their rugs with products like you see here. Long before we had a lot of wall-to-wall carpeting, rugs were popular. People would put rugs on wood floors and other hard surface floors, and they would shampoo them with products like you see here. And I picked up this bottle on eBay. Couldn't pass up the nostalgia of this old retro bottle of Blue Luster. So products like you see here were very popular. The downside to products like this was that these shampoos would load up in the carpet and act like a magnet and attract soil. So back then when rugs were popular, people did a lot of shampooing and these rugs would attract soil and they just dealt with it. And then when wall-to-wall carpeting became much more common and it kind of exploded in the 60s and the 70s, people were still shampooing. And they really had problems then because these carpets did not respond well to these old shampoos, which just opened the door for hot water extraction. Why? Because shampoo, frankly, failed miserably. So it opened the door for hot water extraction, and then as we get into the 70s, we've got truck mounts coming on board, and that's really how our industry moved to hot water extraction because it did a much better job of rinsing that residue out of the carpet that was being left behind by these old shampoos. It was not a very good way to clean. But I bring that up because that has some of the underpinnings of today's encapsulation. It's a shampoo method. But what's changed is the technology of what's in the jug. So let me give you a little bit of history on where I come from, just briefly. I started my cleaning business in the early 80s, and back in the early 80s, we were doing a lot of commercial glue-down carpet, particularly in malls. Back in the 80s and 90s, every store in the mall was covered with carpet, so we had a lot of work to do. And we did a lot of malls, did a lot of commercial glue-down carpet. Now, it wasn't practical to use a truck mount. You couldn't leave a truck running in the parking lot, run hoses down hallways, leave the back door of the store open. Nobody was going to have any part of that. So we were limited with using portable type equipment. Using portable extractors was a problem. Commercial glue-down carpet, as I learned throughout my experience, was that commercial glue-down carpet does not behave like residential carpet when it comes to hot water extraction. There's limited airflow. It's glued to the floor. You got very dense, short pile, and wicking and recurring spills were just the order of the day. We used to laugh about it. We used to say we could name these spill stains because we're going to get to know them. Every time we come back, they're still there to greet us. But what I did during those years is I kept searching, kept looking, kept going back to our industry. I'd go back to my distributors and suppliers, my IIC or C instructors, and I would ask them, what do you have that I can use to fix these problems? And they were quick to tell me, well, try this product or try this machine, try this, try this, try this. And I did. I was a sucker. I tried everything. I tried host, I tried bonnet, I tried pre-bonnet, post-bonnet, pre-shampoo extraction, post-bonnet, used RX-20 attached to a powerful portable. We tried everything through the years. And everything kept coming up short. And what we would see was not just the recurring spills, we'd see carpets that would just dinge out over time. It was really hard to get them under control. And I was really struggling. I was trying to improve these carpets and they were just getting away from me. We started to discover though that through the 90s, by the end of the 90s, I'd really kind of latched onto lower moisture methods because it seemed that that was doing a better job for us than extraction because it just opened up a can of worms when we would do hot water extraction. And something that I found that I liked at that time was the Chemstractor machine. Now the Chemstractor is a rotary machine, shampoo, and it has a vacuum ring that extracts the foam. So it's kind of a low moisture method, and it was doing pretty good. Still had some problems, but it was better than what we were doing before. Like I said, I tried everything. So I came up with this idea. I thought I would take a Cymex machine. Now the Cymex had been around since the 30s. It's just a beast of a machine with its planetary design, nothing like it. And I thought what I'll do is I'll build my own Chemstractor type machine with a Cymex at the core, kind of put a ring around it and build a souped up Chemstractor style machine with a Cymex as a base. But right about that time, as we're now crossing over to about 2000, some new technologies were starting to emerge on the chemical side. Some new polymers had come into the industry that would actually dry down brittle, that could really be used well in carpet detergents. So now, and before I go forward, we gotta give a nod back in time to Crystal Dry, Whitaker's product. They had been using Crystal Dry for some time, but they were kind of flying under the radar. Nobody really knew about it, and that really was a crystallizing product. But what I did is as I started to take these polymer type detergents and started messing around with the Cymex, and all of a sudden we saw results we hadn't seen before. No more wicking, no more recurring spills. We were able to take carpets that had already dinged out, and they started coming back to life and becoming more vibrant. I realized I was onto something. Also, right about at that time, I spoke to a good friend of mine who had been in the industry just about as long as I am. His name is Don Forbes. I was talking to Don, and I was telling him what I had come up with, and he said something interesting. He said, well, it's like it encapsulates the soil. It's like, that's a cool word. Never heard of that before. So I started using that word to describe it, that we were encapsulating the soil, and called it encapsulation cleaning. Nobody had really used that word yet to describe this method of cleaning. So back then, the ICS message board was very popular, and I was on there, and I'd talk about encapsulation to describe what I was doing that way. Of course, the truck mount guys didn't want to hear anything about that. I took a lot of heat for that back then, because very unpopular thing to talk about. But I persisted because I saw that it was really opening up a whole new way that we could address commercial glue-down carpets. And then I spoke with a manufacturer, and I took the idea of some ideas that I had kicking around and spoke to them and asked them if we could get together with their chemist and formulate some products, and that's how the Releasit line came about. Now, our very first product in the Releasit line was Encap Clean. 8 ounce per gallon product, worked extremely well, and I really wanted this product to be formulated with a lot of polymer, because I recognized that the polymer was the muscle, that was the backbone, that was the vehicle that would capture the soil and get it out of the carpet. So we came out with this product called Encap Clean, 8 ounce per gallon product, and it became popular. We had that out for a while, and then I thought, well, I wonder if we can double the raw ingredients, because let's face it, chemicals are made of water and raw ingredients. And so with very little water and doubling the raw ingredients, could we come out with a 4 ounce per gallon product? Figured out, yeah, we can get away with that. So we came out with Encap Clean DS. And that just really took off. Everybody loved Encap Clean DS. Became the industry standard, really, for encapsulation back at that time period. As we went forward, we continued to work on that product and make changes to it, and it kind of evolved even further. We made a major revision to Encap Clean DS, and it became named Encap Clean DS2 because it was really a redesign of that original formula on the surfactant side. But a funny thing happened right about then. When you change something like that, you've got people who love the original. It's kind of like the old Coke, classic Coke, you know, and the new Coke. Remember that? Everybody wanted their old Coke back. Well, some of our customers said, I want that original formula. So what we did was this. We came up with Encap-1. Encap-1 is, just as the name implies, it's the first version. It's Encap-1 DS. It's our original DS product, and we brought it back. It's been around now for several years for those customers who really liked that original formula. We haven't changed this one. This is the original. It's the original formula. And it has the tea tree oil in it that we had originally in the original formula, has the tea tree extract in it. So here we have the original product. This is really where the Encap revolution began. And it's still popular. We've got a lot of customers who still like it. It's still a powerful cleaner. It's kind of a rock star. You know, it's got a lot of history to it. People like Encap-1. So you might want to check it out. I'll put a link to it below. But really along the way, it's been an interesting ride because we've seen encapsulation now become the standard in our industry in many ways. A lot of companies have got on board, and it's been fun to be a part of it, to play a role in helping this to come on board for our industry. It's a very practical and efficient way to remove soil and leave the carpet in a soil-resistant state. So that's just a quick overview of the last 20 years almost of how this whole thing's come about. Thank you for watching. If you would be so kind, if you'd hit the like, the subscribe, comment below, we appreciate it when you do that. And like always, here at Excellent Supply, we're here to help you max your Encap. So thanks for watching this episode.